So Katie Dayton, who's a media reporter at the Wall Street Journal, just did a piece about like the uptick of storytellers as jobs and like how like companies from Notion to Chime, like they all have these listings for editorial directors.
Well, I might have something to offer.
Yeah.
Because I started as a beauty editor, writer, right?
Right.
And there were a lot of writers back then that, thought they would make money from writing. And then the explosion of all these like D2C startups started happening. Brands weren't necessarily cool back then in the way that they were. And now I think we're kind of going under a new phase of like brands are no longer cool again. It's not cool to work at like the coolest startup, even if it is the coolest startup. But back then it was, I think to your point, these tech bros, quote unquote, because they were kind of the leaders of the VC startup world, used the term storyteller as this like what they felt was a more exciting term to offer to people like me who they were trying to convince to come on full time on the brand side and like sell their soul to like work for like a brand, which I never felt like it was that way. I had a lot of fun. It was really frustrating for me to be offered roles like, you're our director of storytelling. Maybe because I come from just the tail end of this more like formal work generation. I think it's hard for a creative to think about like, okay, if I am going into this more like formal corporate world, it is kind of hard to define what I do. So I want a job that reflects like the gravitas of the, or I want a job title that reflects like the gravitas of what I'm doing. I personally feel frustrated by the term storyteller because it almost feels like they're kind of downgrading or like mystifying what a good marketer does.